Palantir is going to be an insane week for Palantir stock price this week, folks. I want to go through what I believe is going to happen here with Palantir this week. Kind of might share some thoughts on it as somebody that's a shareholder of this, and go from there. Okay, and then I would also want to react to essentially the new earnings whispers, as in terms of their updated earnings that are coming out this week, and just kind of give you my 2 cents on a few companies that are reporting this week that I think are important to keep an eye on, and kind of maybe share a few opportunities I see in the market that are reporting this week, as well as a few of stocks that, are a little scary. Let's just put it that way, and I'll kind of speak about that and why those stocks represent really good opportunities in this market versus ones that don't represent very good opportunities in this market. So hope you guys enjoy this. As always, a little bit of a different type of reaction video here today, kind of reacting to my opinions on earnings and things like that. I thought this would be maybe the most appropriate video to put the channel to put the video on. So appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thanks for being subscribed, folks. So Palantir is going to have a wild week this week. Okay, if you didn't see here, well, let's go ahead and take a peek. It looks like Palantir's reporting here on Monday. Okay, so nonetheless, folks, it's going to be a wild week for Palantir stock. Now, I'll get to what I think is going to happen with the stock price in just a moment, in those sorts of things, okay? But before we get into what they're about to report for numbers, we got to understand what happened for them last quarter, okay? Last quarter, they beat on EPS, only by 1 cent, but as a percent, that's actually a pretty big beat. And then they beat by about $3.65 million in terms of revenue estimates in the last quarter, okay? Now, in terms of this quarter, here's what is expected in terms of the current quarter. So we're going to go to earnings estimates, and we're going to go to quarterly here, okay? This is just looking at Seeking Alpha here, okay? And in terms of this current quarter we're in, okay, the March quarter that they're about to report here, 15 analysts have up numbers, and the EPS estimate on average is 4 cents, okay? 4 cents on average for here. As far as revenue expectations go, expecting only 13% revenue growth in this quarter they're about to report, and expect to come in at about $505 million, okay? Now, the important thing to remember about that 505 number is remember what they just reported, okay, for revenue. The last quarter, they did $508 million. So basically, analysts believe on a sequential basis, revenue is going to go down, okay? Now, what is my opinion on that? Do I believe revenue is going to go down? My opinion is, I think revenue is going to go up. I think analysts are too low with their estimation here, in my personal opinion, okay? We'll obviously see what happens here, but I mean, based upon kind of what I'm hearing from Karp, kind of the interviews he's been doing recently, and the way he's talking, I mean, the man sounds very confident, so I have a hard time believing that they're going to miss revenue expectations here, okay? And so I wouldn't be surprised if they come in with a fairly nice beat in terms of revenue. Now, EPS is a wild card. The reason this is a wild card is because Alex Karp hasn't committed to being profitable on an every quarter basis. He is not committed to that. He's committed to being profitable on a yearly basis, but not on a quarterly basis, okay? And obviously, there's a lot of moving parts in that EPS number, so that I don't really have a very strong opinion on. I feel more comfortable with the revenue expectations than the actual profit expectations, okay? But in terms of what's going to move the stock price, and I'll tell you what I'm expecting, for the stock price to happen here. And by the way, if you're wondering, where am I at with Palantir? Okay, first thing is Palantir is the third biggest position for me in the Patreon portfolio. Which, by the way, if you want access to see all the moves I'm making in my Patreon portfolio, check out the pinned comment down there. That'll be to join us on the Patreon. You can also get in the Discord chat in there. Okay, so it's the third biggest position I have in that portfolio. The only positions I have that are bigger in that particular portfolio are Amazon and Cheesecake Factory. Now, do keep in mind, if Palantir goes up a lot this week, which we'll talk about my expectations around that in just a moment, then it's going to obviously surpass Cheesecake Factory in a pretty substantial way for the second biggest position. And then in the public account, right, which is every single move I've ever made in the history of that account has been documented inside the private stock group over the years. In that particular account, I hold 4,300 shares, okay? So obviously it's a position that I care about and it matters for me, okay? But in terms of what can move the stock price, okay, it's really also going to be around the commentary, the guidance from the company. What does Karp say about the future here? Are they seeing a big uptick in terms of the amount of customers interested, right? So much talk about artificial intelligence. Palantir's been at the cross-sections of data and artificial intelligence for years now, okay? This is nothing new to them. So it almost seems like the market is just going to start coming to Palantir, which is a very interesting opportunity here. And so if that's the situation that's playing out, because all of a sudden everybody's talking about AI, every single company all of a sudden got to figure out an AI strategy. And guess what? You got Palantir here, who's the perfect company at the cross-sections of making your data, be able to use that data in a much smarter way and being able to use AI to make those decisions for your company, right? Or your government agency, if that's the situation. So that's going to be very important. That ultimately will be probably just as important as the numbers will be actually for this earnings, okay? Now, my expectations are for Palantir stock, okay? So first off, in regards to last week, I made a pretty outlandish call about I thought Fubo was going to go up substantially last week. I said I thought it would go up between 20 and 40%, and I was right on it, went up about 30%, okay? Palantir, I'm not as confident. But with that being said, I do believe there's a high probability, Palantir will finish this week something with either an 8 or a 9 in front of it by the end of the week. That's my personal opinion on that. Obviously, the number is going to matter, the guidance is going to matter, the commentary is going to matter significantly in which direction. But I would not be surprised at all if this stock ends this week with something with an 8 or 9 in front of it, regardless of what happens in the market overall. That's my personal opinion. I am not as confident, like I said, as I was in Fubo last week. But nonetheless, folks, I do expect there to be likely upside potential here, okay? Because I think, and honestly, you know, all this stuff about whether it goes to 8 or 9 in the short term or 7 or whatever happens here, okay? Remember, the whole market's going to come to Palantir more and more and more over this next several quarters and next several years. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the market wakes up to that more and more as these quarters are reported, and you see more and more of an influx of buying pressure from big money out there, in my opinion, in regards to Palantir, okay? So that's kind of everything I see happening there with Palantir, okay? Now let's get to earnings this week in what's happening here in kind of my thoughts, where I see opportunities here. Stocks I think could go down big this week. Stocks I think could go up big. Why I think that could happen in terms of this, right? Because there's definitely several stocks I either own or have owned in the past I have a pretty good insight on here, okay? So in terms of what we have going on here, not too much before the open. Dish Network's somewhat interesting. The valuation is dirt cheap on that one. That's because a lot of people are moving to services like YouTube TV and Fubo TV now at this point in time, and a lot are ditching Dish Network, DirecTV, and some of those others. I know, a very close family member of me, he said he basically, said he was going to cancel his satellite, and they were so desperate that they gave him like this sweetheart deal, and they gave him I think it was like a $300 gift card or something like that. So, those satellite companies definitely are desperate in regards to that, and that stuff does end up eventually hitting your profitability in quite a substantial way. So PayPal's reporting after the close. Wouldn't be surprised if you see some upward momentum there. We've seen transactions be pretty decent in the whole realm of the finance space. So I wouldn't be surprised if PayPal has a little upside surprise there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that stock does well. Palantir, obviously, we spoke about. Lucid continues to be in a very tough spot here, folks, okay? Lucid's not in a good place. And I don't know if I see that changing, to be honest. In terms of the United States, in terms of the companies that even want to try to compete with Tesla, I actually have a lot more faith in Rivian than I do Lucid. Like Lucid's I just don't see it with that one. It doesn't mean it can't go up in the short term. They say this, say that, but I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Their strategy, everything. I don't see it. Skyrocket Solutions reporting. This is an important stock for me. I have a substantial position in it. I feel like the stock, man. It's an important position for me, man, and it's a really good dividend stock. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Skyrocket Solutions, SWKS, I feel like it's in no man's land, okay? And meaning, essentially, I don't know what it has to go off of. At the end of the day, the stock price has come down a lot, so it's made the valuation very attractive, but smartphone space is in a very weak place right now. We know, if you looked at Apple earnings, like the iPhone, is not in some Super Bowl cycle right now, let's put it that way. They're trying to cling on to just keep iPhones almost flat over year. I think that's a win. Like, if Apple just keeps iPhone flat this year, it's a win for Apple. So it's not an exciting time for a company like Skyworks, and the whole smartphone space, the electronic space in general, is weak right now. And so Skyworks is just kind of in no man's land. So maybe it makes a up 5 to 7% or down 5 to 7% type move, but I'm not expecting some type of huge move in Skyrocket Solutions unless they have some crazy shocking news around them or something like that. It is a good buying opportunity for anybody that's, looking into a stock like that and is looking from kind of the long perspective. Hims is reporting earnings. Been really impressed with Hims. Stock's doing very well. I know there's at least a few people in the private stock group that own Hims. They're always talking about it and trying to get me to buy the stock. But nonetheless, I've actually been really impressed with their earnings. And the company's doing dang well, very well. They're one of the few stocks that's been performing exceptionally well, okay? Exceptionally well. Let's see if I can get this video done before my battery runs out here. And look, it's so bad. It's like you're not even gonna exit us out. So let's take a look at Him stock. This is going to be shocking to a lot of folks in how well this stock price has performed here. If we go to Hims year to date, so Hims year to date is up 90%, folks. Let's check it on a 1 year basis. Him stock is up 187%. This is one of the rare stocks that has made it out of the gulag, folks. This is why I tell you, like, certain stocks are going to make it out of this gulag, which the gulag's the under $5 club, and a lot of stocks won't. But Hims has been one of those that's made it out, and I mean, based upon their numbers, I don't think they're probably never coming back in terms of that back to the gulag, the under $5 club. And so there's going to be certain stocks like that. I think Honest will make it out eventually. I think Fubo will make it out eventually, but there's a lot of stocks that obviously won't. Okay. So that's interesting in terms of obviously on Monday. In terms of Fisker, no faith in them. Nikola, no faith in them. No. Okay. No. EVgo, nah. Okay. Airbnb, probably going to report strong numbers. Travel continues to be strong. Rivian, don't be surprised if that one pops huge. The stock has been so devastated. Don't be surprised if you see a major pop in Rivian stock. We'll see. All they need to do is say something good, one thing. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that stock up 20%, to be quite honest. Twilio usually moves huge. I don't know. I don't have an opinion. Same with Upstart and Affirm. So it's going to be I can tell you, you want to see huge moves? Watch Tuesday after the close, okay? Rivian, Twilio, Affirm, Upstart, you're going to see some moves, okay? Dutch Bros, I'm starting to get interested in. I hope it falls. Hope it does. Wynn Resorts, really in a sweet spot right now. Vegas is exceptionally strong. Boston's been doing well. And Macau's starting to heat up again. And Macau probably has several years of growth ahead of it. So Wynn, I'll be honest, it's going to be in a really good place for a while here. Celsius, interesting growth stock. I've been just trying to figure out what their product is. Is it more of a fad product, or do they have a brand that's lasting similar to Monster? Okay. As far as Wednesday before the open, you have Roblox reporting. Is this Li Automotive or is this NIO? I think this is Li Automotive reporting. No, the Chinese companies, no interested there. I can tell you Wall Street's going to have their eyes right here. Blackstone. I can tell you right there. Okay. That one, Wall Street's going to be keeping their eyes on. First Citizens, Wall Street's going to have their eyes on. Okay. They're going to be talking all about those two stocks. You got Disney reporting, great opportunity in Disney. There's not many opportunities you get where Disney stock's very low. I believe it's under $100 a share right now. If you're a long-term interested in that stock, obviously it's a very attractive time to be in that one. Trade Desk reporting, not a strong opinion there. Unity, same thing. Trade Desk, can't remember if that's Cathie Wood stock, but Unity is a Cathie Wood stock in regards to that. Beyond Meat's in a tough place. The reason being is a plant-based food movement. I might have to talk about this. Is in a bad place right now, man. Really, really bad place. It's unfortunate, but yeah, man, it sucks. It really does. And Beyond Meat obviously has had execution issues as well when it comes to their just execution with the business. Okay, Robinhood reporting. I gotta say this. I don't want to say I'm bullish on Robinhood, but I'm no longer negative on Robinhood. I've been negative on Robinhood since the company went public. As of today, I can tell you this. I'm no longer negative on Robinhood, okay? Take that for what it is. Okay? Fiverr's reporting on Thursday before the bell. Don't expect too much exciting going on there. I looked at Upwork numbers, which Upwork's a stock I used to own a while back, and, it wasn't like Upwork numbers were bad, but they certainly weren't good. So Fiverr and Upwork in the short term, okay. When you got a slower business climate, it's going to hurt companies like Fiverr in Upwork, at least in the short term here, okay? Krispy Kreme donuts, man, I've been craving a donut all day long. Maybe it's a sign I need to buy calls on Krispy Kreme or something there, folks, okay? But no opinion there. Yeti, Obviously travel in terms of outdoor activities and whatnot. Companies like Yeti, that company that sells those pellet grills, were doing great for a while there. Don't be surprised if numbers are a little weak right now. Tapestry is one of my biggest, if not my biggest position in a dividend account. Company's been doing very well. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to do well. What happens to their stock price? I have no opinion on that at all, to be quite honest. Okay. And other than that, this week, not too much else going on that really has my attention. So that covers that, folks. I appreciate you joining me, as always, on the Reaction channel, folks. 26,500 plus subscribers. Thanks for being here. If you're looking to apply to join my private stock group this week and my private wealth group, check out the pinned comment down there. Or it might be linked in the description. I might have the Patreon also linked down there. So if you're looking to join my Patreon or apply to join my private group, both those will be down there. Much love as always, and have a great day.